when we invest in our people and when we support them and we give them the tools that they need, they will be wildly successful because I believe that most people don't want to be bad leaders. They just don't have the skills and tools to do it.
You are now listening to the podcast where authors inspire listeners to become authors, the Going North Podcast. I'm your host, certified self-leadership trainer, best-selling author, and book enthusiast Dom Brightman. And you're going to be listening to a different author that will inspire you to join the business of immortality, known as authorship. Now let the fun begin. Today's episode is sponsored by the GoingNorthPodcast.com shop. It is going to help you have northbound direction to your own success. If you want a great inspirational quote like advance others to advance yourself, or today a reader, tomorrow a leader, heck, even some puns like pile on and always fully booked on your tote bag, mug, hoodie, heck, even a t-shirt, and many, many other items. Head over to GoingNorthPodcast.com, click on the shop tab, and cop yourself some merchandise indeed. And that's GoingNorthPodcast.com/shop. And today on the highlight reel builder for authors known as GMP, the Great, Glorious, and Glamorous, it's the Going North podcast. So we got another super special, awesome human for you today, courtesy of one of the best websites on the planet right now in 2023 and beyond, known as Podmatch.com, the wonderful site where podcast guests get to connect with podcast hosts. And the guest shoots their pitch to the podcast host, and they're cool, they're freaking in. And today's guest is cooler than two cucumbers. And if you were seeing video, she's wearing green, so she's cooler than multiple cucumbers because she's rocking the prosperity colors indeed. Because let me tell you a bit about today's guest in particular, because she's a #1 best-selling author, y'all. That's right, indeed. Not number 3, not number 2, not number 32, #1, dang gummit. #1, she's got gold medals, yeah, baby. That's right, indeed. Gold medals for her best-selling book. And not only that, she's also a proven culture doctor. So if your company culture is trash, she's going to make it into gold. And she's also a leadership expert, executive coach, and the CEO of CD Catalyst Developments. Let's give it up for the special K herself, the one and only Dr. K.E. herself, the kind and excellent Dr. Katie Ervin. How you doing today, Dr. Katie?
I am fantastic and even better now that I'm here with you, Dom.
Woohoo! Glad the feeling's mutual indeed. That's right, indeed. She's got a smile that can brighten the room, and she's got expertise that'll turn your wonderful copper into platinum. You love to see it. But hey, as with all final levels, even though it's far from your final level, you didn't just wake up being fabulous. I'm pretty sure there are some times where it was not so fabulous. So mine, filling in listeners on how you became the Katie that you are today, since it's your first time here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you said it like this because it was a messy road to get here. And I love to share that messy road because it is so important for people to understand that while we're always fabulous, we don't always wake up like this. And so how we get there. So I started in human resources, spent 14 years in corporate HR, spent another 12 years in higher ed administration, and then started Catalyst Development July 1st of 2022. So we're going to be 1 year old in July.
Sweet. There we go. That's a beautiful
Get out
baby
the
right
birthday
there.
hats. We're ready to party.
There we go. That's right, indeed. So come from the wonderful land of HR.
I always tell people I'm a recovering HR professional.
Yes, that's right, indeed. I hear the recovery can take a long time, longer than 3 wiener dogs because of the stories that you've probably acquired over the years.
Yeah. You see a lot, you hear a lot as you're going through your journey. It's always an interesting because people will say that surely cannot have happened. Oh, it did, and I've got the t-shirt to prove it.
Hashtag Sherlock Irvin, huh?
Absolutely.
That's what I'm talking about indeed. So my goodness, so with all the recovery finally out of the HR, doing your own thing as an entrepreneur. What was the moment where you had the light bulb moment where you realized, you know what? I need to go to a place where there's a lot more freedom, a lot more fabulosity. I'm tired of being in this metaphorical fog. Like, what was the shining moment, or that probably wasn't so shiny that helped you realize, let me get the heck up out of here?
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes it's a shiny moment, sometimes it is like a kick over the head of it's time to go, but, when I was sitting in the HR chair and so much of what I do is about people, I tell everyone, like, everything I do, everything about me is about people and how we help them reach their full potential. And when I was sitting in the HR chair, there was never enough time to do the work we wanted to do, which is investing and loving and caring and feeding our people because we were so busy being in the weeds of ridiculousness. And so when I went into higher education administration, whew, a lot of words there, still wasn't fulfilling my cup up. It wasn't giving me the opportunity to grow and support people. And so I'd been thinking about going on my own. I had been doing this as a side hustle. And then the universe gave me a gift. When you say, okay, give me a sign, the university I was working for gave every single person a sign and said, here's a really insulting offer we will give you if you don't come back in July. Here's the buyout. And at that point, it was like, okay, family meeting. We're going to stop talking about this dream and we're going to live it. And so we signed the letter and left, and now I ventured out on my own.
There you go. Good old severance pay. It probably felt like peanuts, I imagine.
Yeah, I tell people it was a super insulting offer to follow my dream, but when the universe gives you that gift, you take it and you go.
Ah, that's what I'm talking about, indeed. And here, sometimes the gift involves barbed wire wrapping paper. So, how is it like unlocking the gift?
Well, and I tell people all the time, the beauty of starting your own company and being an entrepreneur is it's the most pressure you will ever have in your life because you're going from steady paycheck, calm, even though you might feel like you're on a hamster wheel, it's at least the hamster wheel that you know. And once you go out on your own, it's you're betting on yourself. And so it's been a roller coaster. And I have the gift because when I left, two of the women that worked for me said, all right, we're in it with you. And so they both signed their letter and came with me as well. So I'm surrounded by an amazing team. I also have the stress and pressure to pay them and to keep their households running. So it's a gift, but it also causes me a lot of stress because they put so much faith into my dream and my vision.
There you go. So, I guess in this case, Charlie's Angels, but Leadership Edition.
We c so my husband calls us the Avengers, and if you ever go to our social media, you'll see the 3 pictures of us, and my ladies call themselves my right and left arm, so we're always in the same positions in pictures. So yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
There we go, indeed. So, indeed. So, she's got a whole team with her. So, I'm talking about, indeed. And hey, that puts a, or should I say, it keeps a fire under your butt to perform. Indeed. So, my goodness, part of that performance probably lets you finally join the business of immortality with this freaking super special, awesome, hilarious title. You might be an asshole, but it might not be your fault. So, what inspired you to finally finish that book and what inspired the title?
The title is such a beautiful thing because our company is Catalyst Development, and I kept telling people, "I'm writing a book and it's called Be the Catalyst," and they were like, "Oh, that's lovely." But that was it. And then as I started writing the book, I'm like, "Oh no, that's not the name. The name is you might be an asshole, but you might not be your fault." And the reason for that is through my HR career, what I've seen is we hire people or we promote people and we put them in positions and then we give them no training, no support, or very minimal direction. And then we get mad at them when they fail. And so that was really the whole premise of the book. And it's written in a fable form. So it tells the story of a guy, Mike, who everyone thinks he's an asshole. And then we find out, well, he actually didn't have the training, the development, the vision, the anything he needed to do his job successfully. And once he got that, he really turned into a strong leader. So to me, it's really a love story of training and development, and how when we invest in our people and when we support them and we give them the tools that they need, they will be wildly successful, because I believe that most people don't want to be bad leaders. They just don't have the skills and tools to do it.
Ah, there you go. That's right indeed. Just gonna need you and the rest of the wonderful ladies to walk in one day in a training with some construction outfits and be like, "Yes, move over, Bob the Builder." It's the Catalyst Leadership, baby. That's right indeed. We got some tools for you.
We do. And we proudly tell people, like, we're not here to tell you why you should be a leader. If you don't already know why you should be a strong leader, that's on you. We're here to give you the tools. Here are the tools to actually be a leader. So when we work with organizations, and even when we work with individuals, we don't just give them the here's how you do it. We give them actual toolkits to go out and do the work. So I'm going to teach you how to do it, and then we expect you to go out and practice it.
Ah, beautiful indeed, beautiful indeed. So my goodness, so not only equipping folks, especially taking folks back to the book where I guess Mike gets his wonderful toolkit that he's been missing for too dang long. So my goodness, what was it like putting that book together, especially making it a wonderful business fable, which is actually a pretty darn solid genre of book, to be honest, because folks love stories.
Yeah, yeah. And I started to write the book, and it was a journey. I'm sure most authors say this, and I've heard many that you've spoken to that have said, imposter syndrome or writer's block or whatever we go through. And I've had this book in my head for about 10 years, where I keep starting it and stopping it, or I'd write down stories. And so when we started Catalyst Development, my lady said, it's time to write the book. It's time to get it out of your head. It's time for you to stop doing it. And so I actually engaged a literary coach to help me through the process. Good and bad, mixed reviews on that. Not sure we want to dive into that one, but I knew I had stories to tell, and I knew that they were meaningful stories and that they needed to be shared. I also knew that I could do it. After writing my doctoral dissertation, you're writing couple hundred pages on somebody else's work, and so for me to be able to write on my own work was really a gift to me as well. So I started actually telling myself the story. So I would put in my AirPods when I was driving, and I would tell myself the story, and then I would email it to myself, and then I would clean it up when I got home, and then I would listen to it and see what I missed for Mike, the main character, and what who I needed to surround him with to help him grow.
Ah, there you go. That's right indeed. And it wasn't a bunch of shrubbery either. That's right indeed. That's the good news indeed. That's the good news indeed. So my goodness, I guess jokingly, for lack of a better word, it's like leadership rehab in a way. It's like, oh, yes indeed. Never got the training that came broken. It's like, all right, cool. Let's put this 500-piece puzzle together. It's like, all right, cool. Let's put some glue in there. And it's like, all right, cool. Now they're stuck. And then you give them that frame so they can reframe situations indeed. So, what would you consider your biggest setback that actually set you up for success as a leader?
Oh, my biggest setback. Well, when I do keynote speaking, I always lead with my failures, because I think it's so important for people to know that we all have setbacks, we all fail. And so I always lead with, how many times do you think I've been fired? And you can really tell the tone of an audience by their guesses. Like, some will say 0 and some's like 10. And I'm like, oh, you either think I'm really good or really bad. But But I've been fired 4 times, and I will tell you 3 of those times, it was completely my fault. I was young and dumb, or just dumb, and I just didn't know what I didn't know. And so every time I got fired, it was an opportunity for me to, first of all, feel bad for myself for about an hour or 2, and then pick myself up and dust myself off and remind myself it's their loss. And so how do I turn myself around and do better by myself and for my family from this setback? So whether it was I did something dumb or it was on the organization, there was still something for me to learn from all of it. So but Specifically, what I've learned is my emotional intelligence. I have to let my brain catch up with my tongue, or else I'm going to say something I probably shouldn't say in a business meeting, no matter what your title is.
I hear you. I hear you indeed. So was it 4 because you're a golfer?
Oh, that'd be great if it was. No. Unfortunately, it really was 4 times.
It's like up fourth job that was it. She pulled out the glove club, said, "I'm it. I'm done. Out of here. I'm just gonna go into HR, maybe take over the world." And then realize, oh, the world tried to take over me. All right, I'm leaving.
That should be a bumper sticker for HR. I mean, seriously.
That's right indeed. It was the hands and feet. That's right indeed. They looked like babes until you realized they were wolves and jaguars. Not the Jacksonville one though. Not those. Those are different. So my goodness, since you're doing a few interviews promoting the good stuff that you're doing, you and your team and your business, is there a question that you wish folks would ask you more often?
Well, I love that you asked about the setbacks because that's usually the questions people don't ask is about our failures. For me, people always ask about, who do you look up to and who are your mentors and what are your guiding lights? And for me, I don't really have those necessarily bosses or leaders that I've worked for that have been phenomenal. So for me, it's more what do I not want to do? So I had an atrocious boss early in my career. And so mine is really whatever she would do, I want to do the opposite of. So I really focus more on how not to be a bad leader and how not to make the same mistakes that other people have made.
Ah, there you go. That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. Using those bad examples as actual good ones by doing the opposite of what the heck they do, or just not doing any of the stupid crap they did at all.
Ex- Exactly. And growing from I mean, we all make mistakes. And I think so often people are afraid to admit that they make mistakes, that they put themselves on this ridiculous pedestal that should not exist and is not possible. So I tell women all the time, stop saying you want it all. We do not want it all. We don't have time for it all. We don't have the energy for it all. And really, what does all of it look like? So we just need enough. We need enough of what we need to be happy and successful. And that's at home and in the workplace.
Yeah, it's funny when you say having it all because it's like, do you really want all of it? Because you don't know what all of it is yet.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know about you, but I cannot juggle very well. So I do not need to have all these balls in the air trying to juggle. I need to just keep it tight, know what I need, and I can keep it in control that way.
That's right, indeed. She'll be bawling then. Probably not the way she would like, though. Right, indeed. So, speaking of seeing the good old flaws of what not to do and doing the opposite, I hear you found your leadership superpower and you probably help others join the X-Men Mutant Academy. So, how was that process like? And how were you able to? So, or actually, I probably should switch the order. So, what is your leadership superpower and how'd you discover it?
Yeah, I love that. We ask everybody about leadership superpower because when we ask people, a lot of people will say, I don't really have a superpower. We all have a superpower. We are all really, really great at things and we've got to lean into it. So my leadership superpower is people. It is investing and supporting and raising up and sometimes screaming from the rooftops when they're not there. How do we elevate people to reach their ultimate goals, their ultimate opportunity, and really get to their full potential? So my family, it makes them crazy sometimes because we'll be in the grocery store or at a restaurant or just in random places. And I am fascinated by people. I'm fascinated by their stories. I'm fascinated by how they got to where they are and where they want to be. And so I'll just start talking to people and hearing their stories and what they're doing and asking what they're working on. And So often I find myself, because I've done HR and because I do so much coaching, giving them tips and tricks and things I've picked up along the way, and just really trying to help people, elevate to that next level. So to me, that really is my superpower. It's what I love and what I'm really good
So you like peopling then?
at.
So you must be an extrovert.
Yes, I am a wild extrovert, which has led me to we do a lot of training. Someone gave me the book several years ago, Living as an Introvert in an Extroverted World. And it made me have to like go to the introverts in my life and apologize because, when you're so extremely extroverted, you're like, how can anyone not get energy from this? How do we not? And one of my best friends is a crazy wild introvert. And so Friday nights, I'm ready to go out. Let's have drinks, let's catch up, let's debrief the week. And she never wants to come. And once I read the book, I was like, I get it. I get it. So now we have breakfast on Sunday, mimosas and, endless, bottomless Bloody Marys, and she's ready. She's recharged at the end of the week. So, really, really leaning into the gifts, the introverts, and as an extrovert, learning when to shut my mouth.
Ah, okay. So no more busting in random office spaces like the Kool-Aid man anymore. We're like, oh yeah.
I know. I tell people all the time, whether it be in training or keynotes, like, us extroverts, we really do. Like we bust in with like all of our energy, and there's always introverts in the room that are like, "Oh, here we go." And I tell people all the time, there is great power in introverts very quietly and powerfully coming into a room and making things happen. And so I always encourage the extroverts around me. Sometimes we got to stop and listen to the power of the silence and the power of the introverts in the room.
Ah, there we go. That's right indeed. So how's the pandemic like for you then, being an extrovert, having to not people as much?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I will say, you know, for the For for the whole of the pandemic, I mean, this is gonna be a hot take. It was horrible. Uh, but for me, I love my family. I'm so lucky. My husband and I just celebrated our 23rd wedding anniversary.
Woo.
Um, we tell people like we really genuinely like each other, which is so cool after 23 years. The love and blah 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 and all that stuff. Uh, but we really genuinely like each other and like spending time with each other, which is really cool. And then I just have just the gift of two phenomenal kids. So they're 19 and 21 now. So when this all started, my daughter was a sophomore in high school and my son was a senior in high school. And so it really gave us time to come together as a family and turn our back porch into a party porch. And so we would sit on the back porch and we would make s'mores and we would watch shows and we would just sit out there until 11, 12 o'clock at night, just being a family, which to me that's what it's about. That's why I work so hard. That's why I try to elevate people to the next level because I want us all to be the best we can be for our family and friends around us. So for me, the pandemic was a great gift of time with my kids before they started to fully adult in life.
Beautiful indeed. Cause yeah, some extrovert buddies of mine were hating it too. They're like, "Oh my goodness, like why? I don't have that many people around. I can't go around and hug people anymore right now. I have to stay in place and shelter. This sucks." It's like, no,
Yeah.
give me the
Yeah. And
people.
then when we did start seeing people, it was like, I'm gonna hug you. Is that okay? I'm just gonna hug you and not let you go.
Heck yeah, indeed. Heck yeah, indeed. So my goodness, I know folks need to not let go of your book. So for your wonderful book, if it were a food, what would it be and why?
I love that you asked this question. Um, So my book would be meat and potatoes. Like, I'm a Midwest girl. I'm meat and potatoes girl. Like, to me, it is a hearty meal. It, sticks to you with the proteins and the carbs, but it also, for a lot of people, sorry, vegetarians and vegans in the world, but for a lot of us, it's comfort. It's that rich but fantastic food. So for me, it would be, steak and potatoes.
That's what I'm talking about indeed. It's been a while since we got a meat and potatoes answer. That's what I'm talking about. That's right indeed. Them protein and them taters. That's right indeed.
Is there anything, I mean, really, is there anything better? No matter how you do the potatoes, just fry them or bake them or just do anything.
Yeah, that's right indeed. Bake 'em. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. Bake the potatoes, not your mind, though, folks. Talking about the talking about the potato, not yourself. Don't bake yourself. Don't even half bake.
Don't micro bake yourself either.
See, there you go. Don't micro bake yourself either. There we go. She's got it. She knows what it is. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. She's my kind of people. Hashtag kind Katie. You'll love to see it. You'll love to see it. So my goodness, we're coming down to the magical question. And you probably don't even have to go too far for it. So if you're to wake up tomorrow and you were 25 again, but you're still in the current year, what advice would you give to yourself?
Again, this is another question I love because I would tell myself it's gonna be okay. I would tell myself the ups and downs, the challenges, the failures, the successes, it's all about the journey. And so live into the journey, dive into it, follow the path that it lays out, but don't be afraid sometimes to take a left-hand turn when you feel like you're supposed to go a different direction. So to me, it would be it's gonna be okay and just stay on that journey, and while you wanna listen to the world around you, you also have to listen to what's screaming in your head and your heart. So, yeah, it's all gonna be okay.
Woohoo! Well, you heard it right, folks. That's right indeed. It'll be a-okay indeed. That's right indeed. That's right. Keep that future in mind. That's right indeed. Take care of the person of tomorrow and the person of beyond. That's right indeed. You never know how long it could go. That's right indeed. Folks could have like another 8 more decades ahead of them. That's right indeed. You gotta take care of the future metaphorical wolf. That's right indeed. So that way you can howl at the moon in your 90s. Metaphorically. Not really. if you if you howl at the moon and you're serious citizen, they may put you in a home just so that well actually howl at the moon. And I can see your face. She's like, where the hell is he getting this crap from?
I'm just I'm following on your journey. I'm with you on this.
That's right indeed. That's right indeed. She visualizes a senior citizen howling at the moon. That's right indeed. That's gonna be the sequel. You might be a wolf, but it may not be your fault.
Yeah. It's the comeback from Teen Wolf. We'll just bring it all the way back around from Teen Wolf.
There we go. That's right indeed. Well, before a random sheep and a bumblebee try to join the party with a vampire, folks need to keep up with all the stuff that the good Dr. Katie is doing. So, for those of you to do just that, what's the best way for folks to do so?
Well, the easiest way is to follow our website, which is cdleaders.com. I'm also super active on LinkedIn, so love to engage, love new connections. As long as someone's not trying to sell me some random something, I will connect with anyone and everyone on LinkedIn. Any opportunity for me to learn from them as well, I welcome.
Woohoo! Well, you heard that right, folks. Check out Dr. Katie on that magical LinkedIn indeed. That's right, indeed. If you're an internet marketer, don't do it. That's right, indeed. If you're trying to sell us something, it is just say hi. That's right, indeed. Have a conversation. Say hi. That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. Don't try to sell no swampland. Although we kind of need to bring that back just for laughs and giggles, though. Be like, I got some swampland to sell you. It's 2023. You're bringing it back, baby. Especially on a Throwback Thursday, we're bringing back the swampland just to spam your inbox. Right, indeed. This might be a whole series. You might be in a salesman, but you may not. Well,
It's
before
funny.
I go,
One of my friends said, "I need a coffee mug that says Dr. Katie says it's not my fault," and just put anything in there.
there you go. That's right, indeed. That's the new podcast coming to the ears of the person listening right now. The Dr. Katie Show. That's right, indeed. Better than Dr. Phil. That's right, indeed. She's got the K. She's got the special K. That's right, indeed. She might even have those mugs come out for real, too. That'll be a mugging session where you get to drink from the mugs. What goes the cup is up to the person who's pouring it. So before we go any deeper in any other rabbit holes, any parting words before we close up shop, Dr. Katie?
No, just thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
If you're hearing this part of the episode, that means you're one cool individual. Thanks a bunch for tuning in, and if you enjoyed what you heard, be sure to share it with at least one other person in your network. Bonus points for 3. And be sure to check out the backlog too while you're at it, because there are hundreds of wonderful episodes to choose from as well.